All right.
All right. We are live and on time somewhere in the world.
No.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gaming Perspective, episode 28. So we've got a pretty interesting episode lined up for you. We have a pretty exciting cowboy game to talk about. You know, that Westerado on Game Pass is pretty popping. You know, it's so sad. I actually installed that game because I had like this brilliant troll tweet in my head where I was going to take a screenshot of the Westerado game and be like, something's wrong with my Red Dead Redemption 2 game. And then I had the idea, installed the game, booted up the game, took the screenshot, and went to post on Twitter. And literally the first thing in my feed was someone else doing it. I was like, damn it!
Too many trolls,
not enough dungeons. All right, so let me introduce our panel for this evening. We have the editor from the Ear Circle Games Network, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
It's not my fault we were late. I'm just throwing that out there again.
Oh my God,
I need it recorded.
Why do people blame Sam? Why do people blame Sam? This is my biggest confusion. They either blame Sam or they blame Eric.
They do?
Why?
Yes, Eric, they do.
I don't. I blame Nick every single time.
Hey guys,
how am I catching shrapnel?
It doesn't matter. You're gonna catch shrapnel no matter what. Same as me. It's okay.
Lightning
That's how
rod.
it works.
It's because I'm the tallest.
Maybe.
I think I'm the tallest. Nick, how tall are you?
Nick's pretty tall.
How tall are you, Nick?
6'5".
Oh yeah, I got you. I'm 6'7".
Good Lord. We need to get him on Multiverse.
Oh my God. Hey guys, I'm glad we're back again. We may be talking about a somewhat kind of sort of popular, successful game tonight. I won't make any more Red Dead is indie jokes, I promise. They're overplayed. So
I mean, like our group chat, I've made some pretty off-kilter jokes about Red Dead so far too, but we won't get into those. And we also have a very accomplished writer from the Ear Circles Games Network, Jared.
Me? Accomplished? No.
Well, I need people.
No.
I'm serious.
Okay, you know what? No, wait. I'll take it. Take it.
Take it. Go. Go onto the earcirclegamesnetwork.com right now and go read Jared's Assassin's Creed Odyssey review. This man literally wrote such a good review on Assassin's Creed Odyssey that I'm literally going to play Red Dead Redemption 2, finish it, and start another open world game.
Well,
because
good.
I hate myself that much because he made it sound so good. Seriously,
I don't know what you're going to play afterwards because there probably won't be much out. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for joining. Let's get talking. I'm excited to be here tonight and talk about some Red Dead and some other things, but you know, it is what it is. Let's get going.
Right on. And also joining me from the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, Mr. Eric Jackson.
What is going on, people? How's everybody doing?
We doing. I'm sitting here looking at Red Dead paused on my second monitor going, can I get away with playing this and still doing the podcast?
Yeah. I have like a piece of scrap paper where I'm trying to work like God into the title, like how people do like with, you know, Goddessy and this and that. I mean, I would work that into Red Dead.
You know what I really hate? I really want to go back in time to when my parents had me back, like 25 years ago. They go, damn it, give me a name where I can change it to a game title on Twitter.
Yeah. You want to Marty McFly this thing?
Yeah, I really need to because like some people just have that name where they could literally any game comes out they can like fit it in somehow.
Right.
I hate like Jez from Windows Central is one of those people, and I like World of Jezcraft. I'm like I'm so mad at you because like if I put World of Nickcraft, everyone's gonna be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know.
You could be Nintendo, but wait, I think there is a Nintendo already, right?
Yeah, there is. I was so mad. I thought I was so clever back when I first started an Instagram account, back when I used to play on Nintendo, and found out that there's another guy named Nintendo and like 18 other guys. I'm like, damn it! Why can't I be original?
I don't have one of those names either.
Yeah, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I could handle podcasting while playing a game. No, Nick, try being named Alden. Fair enough. Fair enough.
There's always someone who has it worse. There's always someone who's got it.
The only reason I knew how to pronounce your name, Alden, when I first started talking to you was because Doc basically spelled it out for me in a DM. Very much appreciated.
See, like Micah said, just be Narfi. Just be Narfi.
Well, anyways,
that's pretty simple.
I guess a pretty big game came out this week. I guess. I mean, like, I haven't seen anything on social media about it.
I said we're not making any more of those jokes. Come on.
Okay. Fine. I always have to take it one too far. It's fine.
L.
Listen, you can't spell my name without L, so own it.
N-I-C-K.
Yep.
N-I-C-K-L.
Oh, so now he's a metal. He's nickel.
He's nickel.
Nah, you want to live with the name Nicholas? Try having an uncle that would give you a nickel every time you'd see him.
No. That'd be Nickelback.
It's like, I got something for you.
Nickelback. That's the one thing you don't want to be. You can be a nickel. Don't get
what are you talking about? When I used to come back into the room at parties in high school, they'd be like, Nickelback! I'm like,
oh, man.
I'm like, I want to die inside.
Literally one of the worst bands ever.
They're Canadian, right?
Yeah, they are Canadian.
Yes.
We produced Nickelback and Justin Bieber. So.
Is this your vote sticker?
I'm sorry. We have a special guest, guys. What's up, sweetie?
Aww.
Is this your vote sticker?
That is my vote sticker, Daddy. When you wrote it. No, you can have it.
Your daughter's trying to sneak in on your Red Dead Redemption 2 strategies, Eric.
Okay.
So you can.
Thank
Here
you.
we go fishing.
Stealing all your good fishing
I'll
spots.
see you later, okay?
Oh, man.
Hey, the fishing was fun in Red Dead Redemption 2. Not
Okay.
Wait, all right, whoa. Before the Red Dead talk begins in earnest, I think we have a couple of housekeeping things you want to go over,
yeah,
right,
we got
Nick?
housekeeping stuff. Wait, we got housekeeping stuff.
the boring stuff.
Listen here. You're docked. You're docked.
I'm
docked. You're docked 0. Like, I
What
can't.
did I lose? What was I gaining?
We're not sure, but you won't have it. That's for sure.
I'm going to send Eric to your house with a wiffle bat.
You live in Florida. How is he going to get to Canada? That's a long way.
Yeah,
That's one heck of a road trip.
That's a long
I was just saying,
haul.
come on over. I'll be out somewhere doing something. The house will be open. Doors will be unlocked. Make yourself at home. I'll be out in the Canadian wilderness. If you really want to come get me, I'll be camped somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. I'll just leave it at that.
No, I
just
want to see the look on Jared's face when Eric unfolds his 6'7" arse out of a rental car in Canada in his front yard, and Jared's like, "What the?" All right,
Okay.
we'll reel this back in. So housekeeping stuff. So there's a couple new links in the description for you guys to check out. First is the Gaming Perspective Discord. We made it a few months ago. I'm terrible with keeping up with Discord, but I finally installed the app on my phone. So we're going to try to transition some stuff. And the best way to keep up with us is we start creating content going forward and live streaming. Best way to keep up with that is on Discord, because Twitter's algorithms suck for notifying people. So if you guys want to join the Discord room, there is a link in the description. And if the link doesn't work for you, because I know Discord links can be kind of finicky and whatnot, just DM me. My DMs are now officially open. So even if I don't follow you, my DMs are now open. So if you want to talk to me about the podcast, you want to talk to me about anything, my DMs are open, because I am not following everyone that follows me, but I still want you guys to be accessible to me. So from going forward, unless something goes overboard or south again, my DMs are now open. Also, if you check in the link in the description, there's 2012 YouTube coming out. There is a link to Mixer. That is my official Mixer account. That's where I will be starting to live stream this week. What?
You cut out for me, dude. You cut out for me, dude.
So Mixer link down below. My channel, Undead 3XVI. Gonna be live streaming. It'll be with these guys, some of my other friends, and everything else. So you guys will have opportunities to watch everything else. Might do some giveaways on the streams too. It's gonna be a wide variety of stuff that's gonna be played there. There's gonna be all sorts of things. Me and Sam are working on through some walkthroughs, some tip stuff that's going to be on a mixture of the Inner Circle and also on this YouTube channel. So if you guys are looking for the best information on games, on new stuff, and everything else, this is literally going to be the best spot for you guys to go, because you can come to this channel, you can get informative gaming podcasts, you can go on my live streams to see me fail terribly at video games.
It is
and then you can also go to the www.tickgamesnetwork.com for all your gaming news and information and insights, reviews, walkthroughs, all sorts of great stuff's going to be coming. So everyone that watches the show, I just want to take a second and say thank you to the audience. The past few episodes have been amazing, and the amount of support I've received on Twitter and everything else has been phenomenal. I just want to say thank you to everyone that continues to check in on this show, and shout out to the people that bring their friends. So many people have said, oh, so-and-so brought me in, and now I watch every week. I'm like,
it's Sunday school. Sorry.
I'm like, what? Eric, it's Saturday. I know Florida's kind of upside down some days, but
I have no defense, man. I have no defense for Florida on anything anymore. So you notice I never bring it up, right? We got just the weirdest. It all happens here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I voted today, and I have no faith that it's going to work out in any kind of way. We'll be the ones that slow it down. It happens every election, and Florida needs a recount, and Florida
It's edge and edge in Florida.
It's something in Florida. Like my only context for Florida basically is all the things. It's like screwed up thing appears in the news, and it's like Florida man. I'm like, oh
yeah.
And CSI Miami, those are my only contacts for what goes on in Florida. So, like, it's not a great picture.
Yeah.
But, hey, we all have stereotypes. I sit in my igloo and podcast with my polar bears.
Yeah, that's true. We do.
Mine tries to gnaw on my arm occasionally. But, anyways, so that's all the new information. There's going to be some more stuff coming down the pipeline, but you probably won't see that till November. And I don't want to make any promises that I can't fulfill time-wise. Yet there's some stuff that these guys don't even know about that I'm working on that hopefully will come to light, and this is going to be great for everyone involved, and it's going to be a great thing moving forward, and we really want to grow this as a whole. So to break into the actual gaming topics, Red Dead Redemption 2 from Rockstar Games came out on Friday or Thursday if you ran out of a meeting to go get the game at 9 p.m.
I wouldn't know anyone like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anyone like that either.
It would be in a meeting at that time.
Right?
Damn it. YouTube just slapped me with a demonetized. Joke's on me. I'm not monetized. But yeah, so Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. And surprisingly enough, the reviews were average.
Okay, enough. I said.
So the game's saying currently, I believe, on a 97 on Metacritic, which makes it one of the highest reviewed games of this generation.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that means it's tied with Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild to be the top-rated game this gen. Is what that means.
Absolutely insanity that Rockstar made something on the level of Legend of Zelda.
If anyone's going to do it,
I need to reel that back because I just realized how bad that sounded. Is what I mean is Legend of Zelda and Rockstar, the one thing they have in common, they don't make games at all similar to each other, but when they sit down and they make a game, they make a game. They sink the time, the hours, the attention to detail, the breakable master sword, everything. Everything is fine-tuned. Everything is fine-tuned in those games and done. Like, if you look at what Red Dead Redemption 2 does versus what the original Red Dead Redemption, now there's a fair amount of time between those games, but what they managed to improve on, change, and everything else has been astronomical. You look at what Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did compared to the last Legend of Zelda, it's absolute insanity at what they managed to do, like the weather systems, everything.
Right. And that's a thing of like, you know, they don't get a lot of credit for it, I don't think. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've talked about fan service and how Nintendo does fan service, right? Or people kind of say that, you know, well, they're tone deaf. They may be tone deaf to certain things when it comes to the hardware front, but when it comes to the games, which they always seem to pride above everything else, like listen, because fans have been saying for the longest, we do not want another Zelda where it's just point A, point B. You know, we really want something that, you know, is meaty and we can kind of do anything and go anywhere. And damn, I mean, they deliver on that front. Because if you can kind of think about it, you can do it in Breath of the Wild. Like, there's no one way to do anything. Like, you can kind of make it up as you go along and really create like your own little adventure. You know, so I can't wait to kind of see what they do with this, you know, this engine and kind of what they built in the next game, because they did kind of focus in on just letting you kind of do everything. And I know some people said that was kind of at the detriment of an actual story per se. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of continue on with that.
Right.
So I've probably got between me and Eric, we probably have the shortest amount of time because I've basically been seeing Sam and Jared Jared's basically, I think his whole experience in the game has been intoxicated. My man.
Oh man, that was memorable. I love that mission. That was hilarious.
That mission is hilarious.
Oh, it's great.
It really is.
I'm going to briefly share my thoughts, then let the people that actually have gotten into the meat and the potatoes of the game. Because I'm only about 2 hours in, because for some reason my work decided that we need to have inventory on Friday, Saturday, and they wanted to do Sunday, but we managed to get it all done today. But they wanted to do it on the week that the biggest game of this generation. They're like, oh, we'll do it on the 26th. And me and like 3 other guys were like, really? Really? This is the weekend? This is the weekend we have to work. So I've only got about 2 hours in the game. I'm still in the section that I would call tutorial, in the sense that it's still teaching me, like, without going into any spoilers at all, because there's so much stuff to unpack in the first hour and a half that I'm literally going to avoid talking about any of it. But I'm basically learning game mechanics right now. But what I will say is Rockstar stepped up their game with this game. Not necessarily the storytelling's really good so far, and it's not as heavy-handed as their storytelling usually is. It's more subtle, and there seems to be more emphasis on character buildup more than just creating characters that you love and characters that you hate, which was my problem with GTA 5, is they just wanted you to either hate this person or love this person. They didn't really want you to build character throughout. So the writing's significantly better. I'm legitimately interested in like 5 or 6 of the characters. But this game for Rockstar, it's weird. It feels more like a sim, like not a sim game, but more of a simulation style game because of the detail in the game. And initially I thought I wasn't going to be a fan of the detail. Like there's micromanagement. This is gameplay stuff, so I'm not going to call this quote unquote spoilers. We won't talk about story or characters or anything like that. But
okay.
So like you have a health bar, you have a stamina bar, you have a health core and a stamina core that you have to keep replenished. You keep those replenished by eating. Specific foods do specific things. So you actually have to pay attention to your surroundings and pick up food and pick up stuff that enhances your stamina. And the same thing with your horse. Your horse has a health bar and a stamina bar. You build your relationship with your horse. It's really immersive. And the first Red Dead I played a lot and I loved it, but I never felt immersed in that world. Literally, I feel like I'm living in that world. Just it's hard to explain between the audio design, the voice acting, everything's so real. This is how, like, when I to basically put context to this, when I was like 6 years old playing Baldur's Gate and games like that, this is what I imagine video games would get like in like 40 years. But
Right.
here we are like 20 years later and games look this amazing. This game's attention to detail, from your horse's breath in the snow, like seeing it in the air, the horse tracks in the snow. I sat there and went, oh my God, it's got the God of War snow mechanics. There was just so much stuff to take in through that first little bit. And now I know a lot of people are saying the controls are clunky. I don't disagree that the movement when you're looting feels kind of jarring, but I upped my sensitivity and fiddled around with control schematics because I do that with every game I play.
Mhm.
But I actually like the gunplay the way
Agreed.
it is, because
Gunplay's
there's
nice.
a certain, it's hard to describe, there's a certain weight to it.
Yeah. The gunplay, we can agree that it's better than Red Dead Redemption, and it's way better than GTA 5.
Yeah,
And
see,
gunplay.
GTA 5, I never felt like any of the guns packed a punch.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
you'd spray like an assault rifle clip into a guy who's like wearing a pair of shorts. He just kind of flops on the ground and that's it. But like, you hit a guy with a revolver shot to the chest in Red Dead, and he like will hit the ground clutching his chest, and he'll like crawl to cover. And like, there's just small little details. I was in a gunfight. I was using the repeating rifle, and I was getting shot at. And I was literally, every time a bullet would hit the shack I was tucked in, that specific bullet pattern that was hitting the shack would shatter wood in very specific ways depending on the direction I was shot at.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there was so many small details, and the whole shooting the gun and then recocking it.
Yes, the fact that you have to, well, for some of the guns, presumably some of them you don't, but like the lever action rifles or like the carbine or the single action revolver, you actually have to hit the trigger to cock it back again or eject the spent bullet.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
I can understand why people think it feels clunky. I get it, because like when I was first playing it, I was kind of like, this is kind of slow. Like the movement felt slow. And then I started playing it more, and I fell in love with the fact that it felt like the characters have weight. And what I'll wrap up on before I toss it over to the rest of you guys is the attention to detail became so apparent to me when I got attacked by wolves, and a wolf jumped past my back and like clawed my character, and he spun around after getting hit and basically like didn't roll, but he sidestepped realistically like he got hit. And in the pattern that the wolf came across, there was a cut right across the back of my coat.
Wow.
And then every time I got attacked by a wolf, if I got bitten, there'd be bite marks. If they ran by me and clawed me, there'd be claw marks. There was distinct variations, and whatever direction they hit me and the angle they hit me at was where the direction of the wounds would go. And that attention to detail is insanity.
It's a lot of work.
The amount of mechanics, that's just for an encounter with wildlife.
Right.
Like, that's not something a lot of developers will put a huge amount of time to, but you can literally see all the detail that they've put into this game. So that's my experience so far. I'm enjoying it so far. The story's great. The fact that they put a great story piece 45 minutes into the game was absolutely a great move, and I love it. But I won't talk about it, because if you haven't played it yet, you have to play it to experience it. There's just a whole build up.
Yeah. Like if you're coming in as a newcomer, I'm going to say this. If you're coming in as a newcomer, because obviously this is a prequel, you're still going to have a fantastic time with it because you don't know anything. And they do a good job, in my opinion, of setting it up well. But if you have played the original like I have, and you love those characters, you had your heart broken and then reformed with the story, whatever. There's a lot of moments here that there's a lot of foreshadowing, there's a lot of fan service. It's really, really good. The intro to this game is what I'll hound on for now. Like, it reminded me, it instantly set the tone of a Western epic, in my opinion. It reminded me of True Grit, and it reminded me of what's the recent Tarantino film, The Hateful Eight. That's it, The Hateful Eight. Yeah, it reminded me of both of those. And something I love Rockstar games. I loved Red Dead Redemption. I like GTA 5. I still play GTA 5. But it can't be denied they've had some issues with characterization and writing. A lot of their characters, bar John Marston and Agent Ross and a couple of the others, tend to be selfish jerks. They tend to be very, how do I put this? Like, they're two-dimensional. You know, there's no actual depth to them. I mean, what would you say, Eric? Franklin is probably the most nuanced character in GTA 5, and that's saying something?
Yeah. Like, I would say that. And that's just, from like the little bit I've played of it. But I remember like when that game came out. But it's weird, though. You have that, but most people still kind of like thought Trevor was like your favorite. And I guess that's because he's archaic.
Trevor is fun to play as. He's not a good character. He's just okay, I'm just going to go be a maniac. That's all.
Yeah, which we can't do in society, but you can do it in there, and
Right, exactly. So the point I'm making is Rockstar's always had some issues in terms of character tone.
Yeah.
Not here. Not in this game. Like Dutch, this isn't the Dutch of Red Dead Redemption. Like, you believe him when he says he's going to die for each of his brothers. Yeah. You believe him that he wants to take care of this gang. Arthur Morgan, I voiced my concerns that he would not be a good protagonist, that he seemed very bland from what we had gotten. And about 16, 17 hours in, I can tell you it's far from the case. Arthur is very nuanced. He's not a good person. He's not a good guy, but he's not evil either.
Right.
And so it provides this interesting balance. And frankly, I think the honor/infamy sliding scale that was in the first game better works for Arthur. It works for Arthur way more than it worked for John Marston, in my opinion. It makes way more sense for Arthur. I really like Arthur Morgan as a protagonist. I'm interested in seeing where it goes from here. It's difficult to talk about a lot of the characters without spoiling anything, obviously, so I'll shy away from that. But, man, just like what Nick has said, the detail in this game is absurd. You can play it in first person from beginning to end if you so chose to. Right. You absolutely can. And it looks good enough that you can. Yeah. Trudging through the mud and the snow, the rushing water, the detailed grass. They made sure there was no grass gate this time around. I can tell you that much. The grass is incredible. It's lush. There's hundreds of different animals, like literally different animal species. There's like over 200 of them, something like that. The wildlife interact with each other. You can talk to every single NPC in the game. Like every single one of them, and you can antagonize people and pick a fight, or you can diffuse a situation. And I told a couple of you guys, I didn't tell Nick about this, so I'm going to tell a story about a random encounter that I had in the game. This was about 4 hours in. Okay, so this was in Chapter 2, but not far into Chapter 2. I'd gone hunting to bring back some meat and some provisions for the camp, and I bagged it, elk deer, white-tailed deer, skinned it, threw the carcass over the horse, go back. As I'm riding back into Valentine, which is the first major town you encounter, I hear a man screaming for help. It's like, help, help, help. And I hear a wolf growling. So I'm like, okay. So I trudge off into the woods, try to find him. But the time I get to him, the wolf is digging into him. Like it's tearing his guts out. It's got his leg. It's like, ugh, it's not a good sight. So I kill the wolf. I'll go up to the man. He's bleeding out. And I'm like, well, can I help you, partner? That's Arthur's accent. I can't do it properly. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm bleeding out. Do something. So I offer him a vial of medicine. That's one of the options. I'm like, okay, I'll offer him the medicine. Arthur reaches out and hands him the medicine. He's like, maybe this will help you. And the guy smacks it out of his hand and says, no, dang it, no, that's not going to help. I'm dying here. And he's just screaming in agony. So, I mean, the only thing I knew to do is I pulled out my gun and shot him. And, I put him out of his misery. And then you have to pick the medicine back up because it actually got smacked out of your hand. And I thought to myself, this is a random encounter. Maybe if I was a little quicker, or I knew where the voice was coming from at first, I could have saved this guy. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll never know that. And maybe other players are never going to have this kind of thing happen. And it really struck me, and I had to take a moment and think about it.
So it kind of gives you like a gut check, like you would in real life. You know, you're like, maybe if I got there sooner.
Exactly, and you can't know that. I don't know. I have no way of knowing that whatsoever. And
which is how real life would be.
It's an incredible game.
You know,
we have a review coming. Nick and I are splitting the work on a review, which will probably end up being 10,000 words, just so you know. But Rockstar deserves every praise for the detail and the systems they have put into this game. Bizarrely enough, I'll actually say this: the camp mechanics remind me of State of Decay 2 more than anything else. Because you bring back resources, you're managing food, you're managing medicine, you donate money to the camp ledger. You got to make sure everyone's doing their part. The camp will go on without you, but people won't be happy about it if you're not bringing back meat. It's something. It really is. I'll shut up now.
I mean, keep going, because it's like, it's true.
Yeah, Jared, what about
you played a lot.
Oh boy, where do I start? That's the difficult part. Like, I don't know, man. There's just so much about this game to be impressed about and to talk about and just to like ogle over. It's oh man. Okay. Well, I will say I definitely got hit right off the bat when I first started playing it that this was a very much of a Western epic, or like just something that is going to stand out as a type of Western classic for a very long time, not just gameplay wise, but also for a story for what it is. One of my favorite aspects about this whole game is definitely the random encounters, because I've had a few, and they've been pretty interesting. Like this one time, I posted this on Twitter a while ago, but it was one of my first ones. I was wandering through the town of Valentine and kind of just exploring the town a little bit, and hear this argument going off somewhere around the corner, and these two guys are playing poker. It was one guy lost his hand, and the other guy accused him that, well, you're not giving him his money. So they got up and started arguing a little bit, and they ended up having a duel. So they dueled, and one guy dies, and as soon as I heard the gunshot, and I was like, okay, where is it? Oh, that's where they are. So I walked over, saw the aftermath of the duel, and the guy looks up and looks at me, and I wasn't even targeting him. I was just standing there. And he's like, "What are you looking at, you rat?" And I was like, "What?" So I looked at him and held left trigger to target him to see what interactions I could have with him, and I accepted a duel from him. He was challenging me. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I walk up and get into duel position and get ready and do the duel, and I shoot him down. And of course, I got all my marks on the target of him, but I was a little trigger happy with the right trigger afterwards.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's these two pedestrians kind of just standing just a little offset to his left shoulder. And I was a little twitchy, so I ended up shooting and killing one of the dudes behind pedestrians that was standing behind him. And I was like, oh no. Because immediately, there's 6 people around him. Like the red eye popped up, a screen started flashing red, and you're being reported for murder. I'm like, oh no! I was like, okay, this sucks. So I stood there for a second, and 3 lawmen come running in, not even like 20 seconds later, and they all had their guns out yelling at me to put my hands up and stuff like that. And I had to quickly put my hands up because they were sounding pretty serious. I surrendered and ended up going to jail, and then I had to pay bail to get out. And yeah, that was just one random experience I had playing Red Dead Redemption 2, just kind of standing around not really doing much. And then this experience happens just because I watched the guy duel someone. I go, oh, wow. That took about 10 minutes of my time, and all I did was just join up. And yeah, it's nice and kind of refreshing to have something like that in a video game for once, because that amount of detail is really, like I've always stressed about before in previous podcasts, and I'll always say it, it's the little details that make up the big picture. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is made up of basically nothing but little details, and that builds the story for you to experience in the game. I've come away very, very impressed by it, and I'm excited to continue my journey in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, I'll just say this, and it's something I hope a lot of studios pick up on. From what it's almost impossible for other studios to do what Red Dead Redemption 2 has done, because the amount of manpower, resource, and everything else that went into this game was absolutely insane. But to have a world that legitimately feels alive, where you have NPC characters that aren't important to a storyline, they're not important to anything, that have individual relationships with each other and interact with each other in different ways and randomly, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking back when Skyrim came out, and how like you would see like guards approach other people for stealing, and like that kind of level of interaction. I was like, this is amazing. And that, we're like 5 years, 6 years later, or however long it's been since Skyrim. I don't know. I was in high school, so it's been a long time. And we're at this point now where we have a world that's so full of life that literally functions without us interacting with it. Like I've seen videos of people just standing there and watching events unfurl. There was a video I saw on Twitter where a guy got kicked by his horse, and then the horse pooped on him.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw someone say this similar thing where they were standing or on their horse, just looking at the countryside. Their horse took a crap on a rabbit that was underneath it, and the rabbit squeaked and ran off towards the water to clean itself up.
Like the thing that blew me away, because it's like you're trying to notice all these details, and my wife's sitting beside me, and she's watching me play, and she goes, "That horse looks really good." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "It moves so natural." I'm like, "Yeah." And then when I dismounted the horse and removed the deer, and you skin a deer, it's not like the old skinning animation where John would bend down, make one knife cut, and then tuck the animal in his pocket.
No, it's brutal. It's realistic.
It's literally you skinning probably one of the best guys I've ever seen skin a deer. I've never been able to skin a deer that quickly in my life, but it's realistic. You peel back everything, and it's shocking. And it's just one of those things you just kind of sit there and wow, and like building a relationship up with your horse, and it's mind numbing. And I'm not even out of the tutorial section yet, and I'm flabbergasted.
Dude,
Eric,
just wait until you get out of there. Just wait. That's all I can say.
There's a lot more coming.
You think it's incredible now, but I told Eric this earlier today. The rest of the game, at least so far in Chapter 2, which is where I'm at, late Chapter 2, makes the tutorial look boring by comparison.
Wow.
What about you, Eric? Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm not as far as Sam and Jared, but I'm probably a little bit further than you. I kind of just got to the point where they come down out of the mountain, and Arthur and Josiah are having like a conversation with is it Charles, the other guy?
Yes, Charles. Yes,
right.
Yes, Charles. And that's
Charles
not a spoiler. Don't worry, because that's really early in the game. So
yeah, I wouldn't go into spoiler territory on that. They're just basically having like a conversation about Charles's background, which is very interesting because that is absolutely a true origin of where, and a logical origin of where he would come from.
Mm-hmm. Right.
With like freedmen, or who are slaves and just freed, kind of living with another oppressed people in the Native American. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing happened. You did have a lot of, black cowboys, which, doesn't really come across a lot of times in movies or whatever the case may be, but that was absolutely a thing. So just hearing the conversation between the three of them was like really like deep, and like some games don't touch on, it wasn't like being shoved down your throat. It was just very, very interesting as a history lesson, like in their, in like their world or whatever. and I found it
right.
really,
They're not trying to prove a point. They're not
No.
trying to make a big deal. It's just it's a natural conversation. It
Exactly.
comes up, and then it's there. The dialogue is so realistic.
It really is, and that's the thing. I think I told you guys earlier, like, you know, I had really just gotten started on the game, and right away, like you kind of mentioned, Sam, like that beginning part, they established character and personality within those first 15, 20 minutes that some games don't accomplish throughout a 30, 40-hour campaign.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just in those first 10, 15 minutes, you get a sense of what this group has, you know, been through, and possibly what you're about to like embark upon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like an amazing thing. And all that is just done through animation, voice acting, and setup.
Yep.
And tone, like immediate tone. You know, and I got the same vibe that you got, Sam. I felt like, man, I feel like I'm playing the Hateful Eight. Or, you know,
exactly.
or True Grit. It's just like, yeah, like and then especially if you've played like, you know, Red Dead 1 and kind of knowing some of, not completely knowing these characters, but knowing there's a history here, it makes it that much more intriguing. And like you were just saying, Sam, like you can kind of go either way on this. If you've played, you know, the first game, there's a lot for you to chew on because you're like going to be like, oh,
this is how this happened, or ooh, that's not going to
Right.
end well, or right, exactly.
Right. And so, you know, barring different controls and different schemes or whatever, if you haven't played that first game, you're probably going to get that feeling. If you decide you want to go back and do that, it's going to still make sense to you. And it's probably still going to be a lot of reveals to you, you know?
Right.
But yeah, so, I mean, but as far as expanding upon like what Rockstar's laid down, yeah, Nick, it feels like there's a weight to it. And I think we talked about this earlier. The one thing I'm still trying to get used to the horse control, you know, but I imagine like you kind of feel like you're working at it, like what I would imagine trying to ride a horse is. You know, you're on a creature that has a mind of its own. You know, so it's kind of like you have to work a little bit. I know there are things you can do to switch it around and make it a little bit easier, whatever the case may be. But I said like I'm kind of used to how, you know, controlling Roach in The Witcher. You know, I felt that was a good way to kind of do it. So yeah, so I'm kind of getting used to how you kind of like go into a full trot and keep that going, or, you know, just kind of keep up. I do like the fact that they realized you're going to do a lot of, you know, have a lot of conversations on horseback with other characters and setting up the next scenario. So as long as you kind of keep with that group, you know, it's not taking away the stamina. You know, don't worry about managing those things because we want you to pay attention to the story and to what's being said. You know, so that was smart on their part.
And building on what you just said there, Eric, I tweeted this out, and I really do feel this way. Despite this being a ridiculously open game, it's not overwhelming. Jared, I don't know how you found it so far, but I look at it and it's like I'm not inundated with 10,000 icons I need to go check out. It's, hey, I'm going to do this mission. Okay, I'm off to do this mission. Or, you know what? I'm going to visit town. I'm going to get my shotgun cleaned, and I'm going to, you know, go get a bath at a hotel, and then I'm going to buy some food, and then I'm out. Or, okay, I'm off to go free this idiot who got himself trapped in this town. Like, it really is like what do I embark on today? A very realistic type thing. It's nighttime. I'm getting tired. Okay, time to set up camp. Like, it never feels awkward or forced or overwhelming that you got to do this. It's a very take it at your own pace type game.
Oh, definitely. They focused a lot on minimalistic, I guess, ideas for the game where it's less actual gameplay, game mechanic, typical kind of stuff that you usually play. Like, go do this mission, and then this mission, and this mission, and then there's these side quests all in this area. You got, you know, maybe at one time you might have 4 missions that are highlighted, but everything else, all the side stuff, they're kind of just hidden throughout the world for you to go discover. Like, you want to go find all the good hunting grounds, go explore, go hunt. That's how you're going to find out where all the animals are. If you want to go make money and you're like, man, I'm low on cash, what can I do? Well, you can go hunt, or you can go rob people. You can go rob a house. You can pull off a heist. You can rob a bank, a train. You can sell goods. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. I really like how they focused a lot on allowing the player to discover how they want to play the game and allow them to play any way that they want to at the same time. Like it's like Sam said, it's not overwhelming. It's all just kind of there, just ready for a world for you to discover. It's kind of it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's insane what Rockstar's been able to do with this game. There was no doubt, I think, in anyone's mind what this game was going to do, and I'm interested to see what other developers take away from this game. I don't think anyone's going to be able to put out a game like this, but I think what makes Red Dead Redemption 2 so special, and people may disagree with me, there's a lot of things that make it unique from other games, but I think the setting is a very underused setting in video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is hilarious because we had a whole FPS genre that was huge in the 360 eras, and literally we basically only had the Call of Juarez games and Red Dead Redemption. That was literally it. That was the only people that wanted to do a Western game. Now, whether that's because it's an older generation that really enjoyed Western movies, like the prime time of Western movies was well before my time. I still enjoy them, though. And it's a setting that's not used a lot. It's the same thing I said when Kingdom Come Deliverance came out. They tapped into a time period that no one else is doing.
Yep.
And it's really cool to be involved in a time period, and the amount of details that Rockstar put in to really make you feel that time period is insane.
Right.
And I'm literally hooked on this game. Like I sat there, it was like 7:20. And I'm like, I told these guys I'd have the podcast link out by 7:30. Looking at it. And they're like, oh, we're going to go attack these guys. I'm like, it'll only take like 5 minutes. I'm like, what could hurt?
Later.
Yeah, like 20 minutes later. But it's great to get lost in games. I don't think every game needs to be this detailed.
No, not every game. But I'll tell you this. Open world games are going to be different in the post Red Dead Redemption 2 landscape.
I'm going to say that it's going to be hard for me to go to any other open world game and see it measure up to this.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I know this is on brand for me, but Witcher 3, like that's it. That's it. It's very difficult, and it's going to be interesting to see. I hope what developers take away from this is a greater sense of AI, a greater sense of interactivity, years onwards.
Maybe a little bit more effort into putting attention into the smaller details of the actual world instead of trying to make a mainstream mission line sort of thing.
What I've got the impression of from what you've talked about, what Sam's talked about, and what I've heard from friends that are 20, 30 hours in the game, and some of my friends that had review copies and are 100% done the game, is that the main thing that people feel lucky about or feel gifted is I'm going to say, with Red Dead Redemption 2, is that the side quests don't feel like side quests, and you don't walk into an interaction with a person thinking, is this a side quest? Like, when you play an open world game, you're like, okay, this is the main story. This is the side content. The side content's going to involve a quirky character. Like, we're talking the stereotypical Watch Dogs open world playbook. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's predictable.
They're a dime a dozen nowadays. It's
dime a dozen. And occasionally you get games that break that mold. Witcher 3 did a fantastic job of side missions mattering, and to be brutally honest, I've never made it as side missions in Witcher 3. Like, I've done absolutely zero of the quest lines. As soon as that world opened up, I was like, woo! It's embarrassing how much of The Witcher 3 I've played. I've not played any of the main story. It's absolutely embarrassing. But that game did really well. I'll never shut up about Kingdom Come Deliverance because of the immersion I got from that game. I'm really being drawn into games that I'm really drawn into games that draw me in. But things that are really immersive, anything I could put headphones in on, and then I just get lost in the world. Things like Hellblade, Prey, Red Dead Redemption 2. You get like, it's perfect just in like how you feel while you're playing these games. Like I literally forgot about anything else that was going on. And the musical score is so subtle in Red Dead Redemption 2, but it sets the tone so well. Until my wife started singing while I was riding across to do a mission, and she was singing around like old school Western songs in the background. And then I was like, God damn it, this is why I was worried about. But yeah, it's an amazing game. Those are impressions, basically. There's not a lot we can talk about. We will do a spoiler cast on this, but don't expect that in any timely manner because this game's huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple of weeks bare minimum. Likely even longer than that.
Yeah.
Before we can do something like that.
We might talk when people get mid-game, when everyone hits like a mid-game point, and then talk at an end-game point. But I think we covered a lot of good bases for impression. Definitely. I've seen people on my newsfeed that were like, well, I don't know if I should pick up Red Dead. And I sit there, I'm like, I don't know if I should slap you.
That is the appropriate response.
It's like people that don't buy Spider-Man.
That is the proper response to not buy Spider-Man.
Jared, let's not.
Do we have that talk again?
We're gonna have to. But yeah, so TLDR, if all of our going on and on and on and on and on and on about this game hasn't done it any justice, go pick it up. Seriously, this is a gaming event. This is one of those rare things that comes around a couple times a generation where this is a landmark achievement in so many ways.
You would be doing yourself a disservice of not playing this game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you're complaining about the controls, which I hear you, go into the settings and change the run to hold down A instead of tapping it. That will make a huge difference.
I kept the tapping A because I don't mind that, but I definitely upped my sensitivity.
Oh, yeah. Well, I always up my sensitivity, period. It's never fast enough, no matter the game. But yes, that too.
I just want I want them to give me a mode in Red Dead Redemption Online where I can crank the sensitivity to like 20. I just want a 360 no scope a guy with a repeating rifle once.
Man, I can't wait for Red Dead Online. I just want to grab some, troll with like a lasso and drag him around.
So we're gonna tie anchor to a horse and let him ride off into the sunset. Oh man. No, it's definitely it's amazing. And as Alden said in the chat, this will definitely do until Cyberpunk comes out.
Yeah.
I just feel honestly like it's just gonna be a back and forth between CD Projekt Red and Rockstar and who can make the better open world game.
And
I am okay with that.
I have to throw a name into the ring in that one. Hopefully it'll be a good one. So when Playground Games finally comes up with theirs, I hope it holds up to those.
You know what?
Two.
That's it. You know what? I'll reserve anything I say about that when we actually know about it. When it's actually announced. But I will say it is very interesting seeing them thrown into the contender, not just for an open world game, because Forza Horizon 3 and 4 open world games, but
exactly.
But for them doing an open world RPG, it will be interesting to see them in the mix. Because what genre do you guys throw Red Dead Redemption 2 in? Is it an RPG? Is it like...
Well, it's an open world RPG for sure. It's just a Western open world RPG.
Action RPG.
I just called it an open world action game because
kick-ass Western game.
There you go.
I think I'm going to sound like a super old head while only being 25. I think the term RPG gets thrown around way too loosely these days.
I think it's a combination of that, dude, and the fact that we're entering an era where so many games have RPG elements. I think there's that too. Like,
it's such
many games aren't just one genre anymore. We need to accept that.
I don't like throwing. The thing is when what annoys me is like people tell me, "Oh, you've got to play this. It's a hardcore RPG." I'm like, okay, I love hardcore RPGs. I start playing it. I'm like, you never played an RPG in the 90s, did you? And like, I don't mean to sound like full of myself or anything else, but like with RPGs, it's not only the story that has to transition. There's a difficulty that needs to come with RPGs to me. And people can argue the point down that you don't need to have a difficulty curve on RPGs and yada, yada, yada. But to me, RPGs are one of those things where you spend 4 months playing the game to get to the end game, and then you sit there and you're stuck. I miss getting stuck in video games. And like whenever I feel like I want to get stuck on something, I go play Dark Souls because I'm absolutely freaking terrible at that game. I am absolutely terrible at that game. But I would consider it more like, I understand there's decisions you make now, which is interesting. It's interesting that Rockstar's incorporated decision making into this game. And I've heard there's some pretty traumatic decisions you can make. So I still wouldn't classify it as an RPG because is there a skill tree?
Yes. Well, in the sense that your attributes get better as you
need to be
evolve
a skill
them.
tree for it to be an RPG, though.
Listen,
there's no way.
Listen, I had to deal with
an RPG.
I had to deal with reviewers. I got into an argument with a reviewer from a site that shall go unnamed because he listed Assassin's Creed 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think Legend of Zelda, which I'm fine with. Breath of the Wild can stay on that list as the best RPGs of this generation.
Ah, okay.
And I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed.
Condescendingly?
I mean, I'm getting the feeling it was condescending.
But the thing is, for me, is there's a few things that make up an RPG. Decision making with decisions that actually affect the end game.
There are 4 different endings for this game.
Beautiful. Skill tree, I don't care what anyone says. If there's not a skill tree in it, I won't call it an RPG. People call Horizon Zero Dawn an RPG because it had a skill tree.
Well, technically it is an RPG.
It may not be on the hardcore side of it, but...
You're role-playing a character in a world.
Oh, I could argue that you could argue that GTA 5's an RPG.
Well, it is.
Oh,
GTA 5 is more sandbox, I think.
Yeah, it is.
But, all right. So
sorry, I'm
that.
Okay, let's not talk about this. I'm gonna die from a brain hemorrhage.
Nick, you're jigging yourself a grave, bud. That's all on you, man. It's just I'm just sitting here being the Reaper, going, "Yep, keep going." He's like, why did
let's make Red Dead with a materia? What the hell's the materia system?
I don't know.
Material system
stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, learn to type, Alden. I see you. Anchor will remember this. Oh, Anchor's still watching. Oh, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, we're gonna tie you up to a horse. It's fine. You'll get used to it. All right, so we're gonna move on. So this is an interest for Sam because, as everyone knows, Sam is our resident Remedy fanboy.
Mm-hmm. Loud and proud.
I do not use fanboy in a derogatory term, but anyone who says Quantum Break's a good game, I have to put that label there. I'm not the only one that gets to be attacked in this podcast.
I'm pleading the fifth.
It's fine, Eric. We'll go have a private DM together, and we'll trash Quantum Break together.
Right.
So,
oh man.
But you know what else is wrong with like,
all right. So, as sourced from the Inner Circle Games Network site, in May 2017, as everyone knows, Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake was delisted from digital stores due to expired music licenses, which sucks. It sucks when music licenses expire, and we're now seeing games get pulled from digital sale. So, and we all know that Alan Wake was announced as a TV series. I think is that coming to Netflix, Sam? What's the...
No, we don't know. All we know is a TV series is happening, and we know a couple of the writers, and Sam Lake is on like the board helping it happen. That's all we know. That's very early planning. That's very early planning.
So they announced an Alan Wake TV series. I'll say TV series. It might be a Netflix series. Who knows where it's going to end up? But there's an Alan Wake series coming out. But a few days ago, Remedy announced that Microsoft, the publisher for Alan Wake, had renegotiated the music licenses and was seeing Alan Wake added back on Steam. Remedy also confirmed in a tweet that Alan Wake would be added back on the Xbox store shortly. They didn't give an exact date, but it is coming back. So I've got to ask you guys, because we all know Control's Remedy's project right now. That's what they're working on. That's what they're pushing out. That's supposed to come out 2019.
See.
Remedy has a TV show about Alan Wake. We're bringing back the original. Do we think this means something going forward?
Eric, you want to talk about this first?
I hope it does. I sincerely hope that it means that Alan Wake will be coming back because, I mean, fans have only been asking for it for how long?
Long time.
A long, long time.
Way too long.
Yeah. And I mean, Alan Wake is one of my favorite games. I'm not going to do that thing where we compare Alan Wake to Quantum Break because they're nothing alike. But I do think it's a world that should be revisited. And
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it absolutely should. And hopefully that's what these things mean.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't want to hope. I don't want to hope. Just like I don't want to hope about Splinter Cell being announced anymore because it's like, I've been hurt. I've been hurt too much. It wounds me. It cuts deep. It seriously has. So I don't want to hope too much, but I'll say it best. It's interesting. It's interesting at best that this is happening. You know, the TV series got announced. Microsoft has the publishing rights to Alan Wake, so they're involved in any discussion going on around it. Any at all. They have to have a say in it, even if they don't own the IP. And Microsoft, Remedy confirmed, are the ones that renegotiated the music license to get the game added back on Steam and GOG and soon to be on the Xbox store. Don't know when that's going to be, but they said it'll be added back there soon. So I feel like if they wanted nothing to do with it at all, that they wouldn't have bothered. You know, I mean, considering that, look at how many of the Forza games have been delisted, right? Forza Horizon has been delisted due to music licenses. So has Forza Horizon 2, if I remember correctly. That's been delisted due to music licenses. A couple of the older motorsport games have been delisted, and they haven't bothered to renew those. They haven't bothered to do those, and those are games by studios they own. So I hope and I beg and I pray and I cross my fingers this means that after Control comes out, maybe in the years following we could see something happening. That would be a dream come true. Like if they, Eric, no joke, if I'm in an E3 or an XO or whatever, and they ever have that song from Alan Wake, what was it called? You know the one I'm talking about, that plays at the end of episode 4. It's like the rock song that was made specifically for the game. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, drawing a blank.
It was hold on. I'm going to find it. I'm absolutely 100% going to find it.
Poet and the Muse?
The Muse, yes, thank you. If that song, if that guitar started twinging, I would cry. I really would. Yeah, so it means a lot to me. I hope we see it. I hope we see more from that IP because the potential there, and that, especially since horror games just don't happen anymore. I mean, think about it. No. We've got 3 this gen that I can think of. That's it. Resident Evil 7, Evil Within 2, and Alien Isolation. And Alien Isolation is on 360 as well, so it really doesn't count.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good
we don't get good survival horror games anymore, especially not with that kind of writing. So, please, I hope something happens there.
I think it will. Like, no one's going to renew a license to bring a game back just for... They're doing something with the IP.
That's a good point, considering you mean like how old it is.
Like, why would you relist it wasn't even like a late 360 game. It was like a mid-gen 360 game, was it not?
2010. It came out. Fun fact, it actually came out on the same day as Red Dead Redemption, which it makes it being relisted on the same day Red Dead Redemption 2 came out is just hilarious.
I feel like they plot this stuff. Like, this stuff just... They're like, hey, you want to relicense it on Tuesday? Nah, we got to relicense it on Thursday so we match up with something we did last time. Okay. Like, I feel like it's planned. But for Sam's sake, I hope it comes back, because I always sit there and I have like a dream list of games I'd love to see come back. Sam's dream list is a lot better than mine because his is more likely to happen. Because literally they had Drew, who helped write the Baldur's Gate games, on Tick Podcast. He's like, yeah, we can't even make games like that anymore. You literally hear me crying in the corner in the fetal position because it's one of my favorite games of all time. I'm never going to get that game. That game's never going to come back. And it sucks, but I always see, whenever I hear someone go, oh, I wish that game would come back. Like, I have a friend, and he has the weirdest obsession with Battletoads. And, like, literally text me 12 texts at that E3. That, like, 20-second clip for Battletoads was like when Mario Odyssey got announced. And those hardcore when Smash was unveiled, like, you know, all those Twitch streamers that freaked out, that was him with Battletoads.
Wow.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I'm like, man, I'm so happy for you, because there's something, when you love a series, you just want it to keep going. You don't know how it should keep going, but you just keep hoping. Like, that was one of the biggest things for me. I got one off my list, was God of War got to come back. God of War got to come back. It got to come back in such a huge way.
Yep. Same here.
And it did something completely different, but I still love the series as much as I did when I first started playing it.
I'd argue I love it more now, infinitely more. Honestly,
you don't understand. The thing is, and I'll say this to the end of time, the reason why God of War will forever echo with me the most out of any video game is when I started playing God of War, I was angry all the time. And Kratos was the most relatable character growing up. Angry, angsty, just pure rage and hatred, which was a lot of how I grew up early on. And that more mellowed out father figure is more of who I'd like to be now. And that whole, no matter what happens, you have to make sure your kid's okay. That's like, if anyone has a kid, you know that feeling. And it's because the time of my life is so perfect when I was playing the games originally and when the new one came out. It just meshed with me personally and hit me on levels that I can't even explain on a level. And it's just so weird how video games can affect us in that way. And everyone that plays video games hardcore has a game that resonates with them like that, where they just sit back and go, I was going through a hard time in my life, and this was the most relatable thing I had.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
I can definitely understand that.
And like forever, I will always, with my old friend that I haven't talked to him in about a year, but I remember we used to sit down and we'd crank a few beers and we'd play Modern Warfare 2. And then his brother ended up passing away in military service. And every year on the death of his brother, he will run through doing like a 20-hour run of that campaign, because that's what that campaign, while it's an amazing campaign, is what got him through what he went through. And that game will always resonate with him on that level because it means more than just the game. And I think that's what's so cool about video games as a media, is that it can draw people in for all these different reasons. Some people are looking to get away from something. Some people are looking to have fun. Some people are, it's just such a great hobby. And on the end of that note, like, I hope Alan Wake comes back. As soon as it hits the Xbox store, I'm going to buy it. I've never played it. I never got to play Alan Wake. And
it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. I don't know why I never played it. I had a friend that never shut up about it, and it wasn't Sam.
Now you got two of them.
So,
So,
once it comes back, I'm gonna make the time for it, and I'm gonna play through it. And yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe I'll even stream it. Who knows?
I want to just give my quick 2 cents on the whole Alan Wake thing.
Sure.
It's just quick. I think if Alan Wake is ever going to get a second one, I think it's really going to heavily rely on the success of Control. If Control does well, I think they're going to go ahead and move along with that IP and focus on that IP 100%. If it doesn't do well, they're going to do some sort of damage control for their products and go back to an original IP like Alan Wake 2, which has huge fan demand, and they know that'll sell to recover from a potential loss of a game.
I don't disagree with you.
It might
in a sense, but Remedy and Sam can correct me if I'm wrong. Remedy doesn't seem to follow the formula of falling back on if something doesn't do well, they fall back, because if that was the case after they made Quantum Break, they should have fallen back and done Alan Wake 2, because Quantum Break did not do amazing or astronomically well.
They also didn't follow through with a second Quantum Break. They did divert to something new, maybe not something old, but it was to do something else that they felt would have been profitable. It could have Control at the time could have been, maybe some small side project. They're like, okay, yeah, this looks pretty good, but we're gonna go ahead with this. And then Quantum Break didn't, exactly fall through as plans intended. And now they're probably like, okay, well, we got Control, this little baby, so let's work on that and build that up and make another game be somewhat successful, or hopefully hugely successful, because it looks so good. I'm excited for that game. Control looks great.
To play off what you're saying too, Jared, the other option too is that Control is, we'll say, a great success for Remedy, and they managed to expand it to 2 teams so they can pursue both IPs.
You know what? That would be brilliant, because I think Control is probably one of their better potential IPs that I've seen in their company's history, especially compared. Like, if I was to pick between Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and Control, I'd be like, okay, which out of the 2 or 3 would I want to play? Well, honestly, I'd rather play Alan Wake and Control, not Quantum Break, because those 2 have more of a creepier vibe to it, like an unknown mystery vibe, and that really resonates with me more because I like horror games. So that's where I'll be like, well, those 2 games stand out to me the most.
I will forever be annoyed, and I know why they had to do it. They didn't think it could live up to it, and they were running over development time. But I will always be annoyed at the fact that the horrific monsters got cut out of the end of Quantum Break. The shifters. The shifters. Yep, the shifters got cut out, and that'll always gripe me. I will agree with that gripe about the game, but
yeah, at the end of the day, if Remedy skips going back to Quantum Break and goes back to Alan Wake, I think that'd be a smart move. I hope they do really well with Control. Literally, it looks like they took all the good things that they had in Quantum Break and they want to work on them and improve them. And Remedy always has a really unique storytelling spin. So it'll be interesting to see we need to see more of Control, but I really hope that they can somehow make Control successful, but also still provide the IPs that their fans love. So we're going to talk a little bit about a game that only Jared's super excited about. I threw this topic in because he's my resident Battlefield guy.
Oh, I love Battlefield.
Battlefield 5, which has had an interesting few months. It got that short delay to November, which they said they needed time to polish and everything else. And hey, you know what? After Battlefield 4 launch, take all the damn time you need. No one wants to fall through the map playing the campaign offline. Nobody wants that. Okay? Nobody wants that. No one wants their campaign saves deleted, nothing. I was forever angry at that game for 3 months, and then once they fixed it, it was amazing. But I really wish they could just taken that 3 months, fixed it, and then sold me the game. So I will never begrudge a developer on delaying it. However, Battlefield 5's Battle Royale mode, which is called, Jared, hit me with this, please.
Firestorm.
Firestorm. So really, really dope name. By the way, Blackout, Firestorm, like PUBG and Fortnite need to step up their game because like those are some really good names. So Firestorm's delayed into 2019. Spring, I believe. They said spring 2019 is the window.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give a specific date, did they, Jared?
March.
No,
It's coming in March. No, we don't have an
Yeah.
exact date, but it'll be in March.
It'll be in March. So they delayed the Battle Royale to March, which is 4 months after launch.
No.
Now there's a lot of rumors about why this happened. One rumor was that they can't get the Battle Royale to work properly. It's really buggy still, which, okay, that'd be believable. The scale of Battlefield is pretty hard to... They've always had issues with their scaling and everything else, so
It's a very technical game. Very technical game.
It comes down to the engine they use. That engine looks really good and performs really well, but there's a lot of complicated in and outs that come with it. I don't necessarily think delaying the Battle Royale game till it's polished and good is a bad thing, because I will say this, if PUBG even was a completely finished and polished 100% amazing product now, it'll always have that shroud that it had from early like game preview where it was buggy, people were falling through buildings. Everyone remembers the bad, right? Even with Battlefield 4, everyone remembers how bad some parts of that game were. Like, I will forever be scarred from some of the stuff that happened to me in the first few months of that release. There were 6 months of fun I had after that, but those issues are always what I think of first, and then the fun comes after that. And I feel like delaying it, if it's having issues, is a great idea. However, on the other hand, Blackout has completely taken over the Battle Royale space, so to speak. They've had no problem eating into Fortnite and PUBG's pie. Both Fortnite and PUBG seeing significant number drops since Call of Duty dropped, which is fine.
Yep.
When you have multiple big players on the field, that's going to happen.
Well, PUBG lost like over roughly 100,000 concurrent viewers in a week, or players in a week. Sorry, not viewers.
Yeah, and see, I'm gonna say this before I pass it off to you guys. People need to stop freaking out about Fortnite and PUBG concurrent viewers dropping or concurrent players dropping off. Like, everyone's saying they're going, oh, PUBG's a shell of its former self. Had 596,000 concurrent players
It's
on
still
Steam
going strong.
last
People.
week or whatever. It's like you have 500,000 people online at the same time playing the same game. And I'm sitting there going, everyone remembers Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1. Remember, DICE came out and said this was our best player-based game across all platforms. They concurrently across all 3 platforms they launched on only had 70,000 concurrent players.
Mm-hmm.
So Fortnite and PUBG, while Blackout is eating into their pie, these games aren't in trouble. I think long-term, some things need to change, but that's going to be a wrap-up topic for that. What do you guys think? Do you think Battlefield should delay the whole game and just deliver a full product in March? Or
My thought? Oh,
yeah,
man.
we'll start with Jared because you're actually going to buy the game. No one else in this podcast is going to buy the game.
That's true. And you know what? I kind of don't blame you guys. Just to go right off the bat from what you brought up next, should the game be delayed to have, more or a full experience? At this point, yes, I think it should be delayed probably another 6 months after the Firestorm release date in March. So definitely like late holiday, November, December sort of thing of 2019. Reason being is because, let's be honest, that roadmap that they put out, come on, man. That's all content you should be working to have implemented right off the bat in the first place. What's going to happen is it's going to launch, and I'm very excited because I think Battlefield has some of the best multiplayer experiences out there. I know I'm a rare breed in that one. I stand out alone, quite often, and that's
No.
opinion.
I think no. I don't think you are at all. I think a lot of people love
No,
those
actually,
4 days
well,
of
it's
Battlefield.
like I rag on you for the Battlefield thing a lot.
It's
But
just so good.
I love like Battlefield 4 was one of my favorite games on 360. Even though I was primarily a Call of Duty guy, I love to unwind and play Battlefield with a squad. It was great. Battlefield 1, the first 3 weeks before my friends dropped off because they were garbage Call of Duty players and they couldn't figure out how the squad system worked, was fantastic. And I can't stress this enough. If you have a full team of guys you can play a game with, Battlefield is besides maybe Rainbow Six Siege, is probably one of the most fun FPS games you can have with friends. Because if you get
easily
like the amount of shenanigans, like strapping C4s to motorcycles, then crouching in a bush and waiting for people to steal the motorcycle and then blowing up enemies with it, great.
Yeah, you can't have that type of shenanigans anywhere else except in my mind is Halo. Even then, like,
yeah,
the fun you can have in Battlefield is great. Anyways, back to like kind of what I was kind of talking about. I'm a little disappointed as to how I think Battlefield 5 is being dealt with by DICE and EA, because they're dragging out all the content, they're doing the season pass spiel, all that fun stuff. There was all this outcry about how Battlefront 2, the Star Wars version, came out, and there's the pay-to-win thing about the loot boxes and all that stuff, and I go, okay, well, at the same time, they're doing basically the exact same model with Battlefield 5. They're just kind of being a little bit sneakier about it, and I don't really like that. I'm still going to end up buying the game, probably the full Ultimate Deluxe Edition, because I play it all year round. I don't stop them after like a couple weeks or a month and go, oh, I'm bored. It's a multiplayer experience I'm going to continue playing. The importance of Firestorm, their Battle Royale, to DICE, I think, is they have to nail it down. It has to be refined. It has to be smooth. It has to be nearly flawless in order for it, I think, to really grab hold into the market. Because if it doesn't, there's lots of issues. People are not going to like it. People aren't going to buy it. People are going to talk bad about it. And it's just going to flop. And I think we're going to see a heavy repercussion to DICE themselves because of a potential failure with Firestorm. Because let's face it, Blackout, it's phenomenal. I love it. I love that Battle Royale. I've played PUBG. I played all the Battle Royales. It's great. But Blackout is just so good. It's smooth. It's everything I wanted the Battle Royales to be. And now I've got it and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And then I see Battlefield 5 kind of wanting to do the same thing. I'm going, please do it right. Because if they do, they can also make a huge dent or take a chunk out of the pie of the player base of the other ones. But they have to do it right. And if they don't do it right, well, yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing very many Battlefield games in the future unless it's the Bad Company 3.
Sam, Eric, any input?
As far as Battlefield goes, no, because it's not something that I really play. But I want to jump back on the PUBG thing for a minute. And no, they still have a lot of players, but we had this conversation in DM.
Mm-hmm.
And again, while I'm not a PUBG player, I kind of like am fascinated by like the whole battle royale thing, about how people feel about certain things. And while I don't think they're sweating, I do think in a way.
In a little bit. I think they are a little bit.
Okay, so they are sweating because I mean they were the belle of the ball not that long ago, right?
Yep. And let's be honest, I don't think very many of us thought Black Ops 4 would be as successful as it has become, especially because of Blackout. And you go, holy crap, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it would be successful. It's literally the most popular Call of Duty brand. The Black Ops brand is the most popular Call of Duty.
I knew this Call of Duty was going to sell because it had a battle royale.
That's kind of like my point, is because of the battle royale thing. I think that's why it's so successful. It's because of that, and like that's what people want now. People have been used to the whole generic multiplayer team deathmatch lobbies for years and years and years now, and then we got battle royale, different type of multiplayer mode, and fun. It's intense, stressful.
But this is kind of like the thing I look at, and like Jared said, okay, so maybe they are sweating a little bit, and obviously they had some feelings about certain things because when Epic decided to switch gears and kind of do what they did with Fortnite, nobody really remembers what Fortnite launched as.
That's
Right.
true.
I mean, look at the
That's very
fact that
true.
the mode was supposed to be going free this year, and they just pushed it back.
We ain't touching that yet. We're saying that again.
Okay, sorry, shutting up.
But Sam, I remember like when that came out, like you put hours into that.
Yeah, dude, but I am one of approximately 7 human beings, if that, who actually enjoyed what Fortnite was at that time.
I played
Right.
it. I played the crap out
Yes,
of
you're
it.
one of the 7. We are 2 of
30
7.
hours.
Right. And
We
how
are
many
2 of
people
7.
actually
I got it
remember?
as a birthday gift, and I actually had a lot of fun building forts
Me
and
too.
playing
I was
in
impressed.
co-op and surviving against waves of zombies, but with this cartoon aesthetic. Like I am the old man yelling at the cloud, but for Fortnite. That's
Right.
that's what I am.
Right. But the thing is, it's like you ask, like I'm pretty sure like most kids who are playing, and I don't want to just throw it at kids because I know there are like a lot of adults who play Fortnite as well. But
Nah, throw it
you
at the
can say-
kids.
We'll throw it at the kids. Ask them like, do you know Fortnite had a mode before it was even a battle royale game? They're like, well, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, old man. Get out of my face. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's kind of how it would be. So
It's
my only
bruh.
like it's got like less than 0.5% that the players of the battle royale mode does. Like
it has
No one cares
like
about
Right.
it has such depth to it too.
Right. So
Like,
my
it's-
only thing. So my only thing with that is this: it's like when PUBG, again, not very long ago, as we were making the joke earlier about how long the year has been. If you think about going back to when PUBG was like last year, PUBG was like the belle of the ball for a lot of people coming over from PC. It was like this thing could be as big as XYZ, right? Or should be as big as XYZ. Obviously, they felt some kind of way, Bluehole did, because they didn't see they seem to have not really known what to do when Fortnite jumped on the scene. Maybe at first they were like, okay, they're going to do their little thing or whatever. But then when they started tracking or gaining traction, it's like, we're going to sue you. It's like, that's a move that people make when they don't know what else to do. When you kind of hit them with like a Scud missile in a way, right?
Mhm.
And then we look at that player count dropping between them and Fortnite. And with Fortnite being a free-to-play game, but still creating, making a lot of bank, but updating their game and supporting it and updating and supporting it for free. Whereas, like, you see PUBG charging $30 and people are kind of like, okay, so where's this map? Where's this update? Where's this optimization? But you see in the meme is sort of like, but they have beautiful offices. It's like, what are you doing with our money, right? So now you also have Call of Duty jumping in there. And again, it remains to be seen what kind of support they're going to give to it, right?
Mhm.
But that's also chipping into PUBG. I'm not trying to make this like attack PUBG. I'm just saying you can only have so much weight on this battle royale stage.
Well,
So
Yeah,
then you hear
and I'll say this.
Battlefield is jumping back to like March. You better come with something pretty damn special.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Eric,
No,
but
go
like
ahead.
the fact that these are cemented in, the fact that Fortnite and PUBG have their legions of fans. Fortnite obviously more because it's free to play, but both still have numbers that are envious by
Right.
most developers. So they're both cemented, and Blackout is attached to Call of Duty, so it's taking off like wildfire. I don't know. I mean, if they have to do it for polish, so be it. Regarding the Firestorm mode, because that's what it's called for the Battle Royale for Battlefield, but I don't see it being a huge success, honestly, unless
That's right.
they have to have some incredible unique hooks, some
Right.
You know what they
incredible
need?
unique stuff, because honestly, I think there's room for 3. Much like the console
And-
industry, I think there's room for 3 big heavyweights here, and that's
Right.
pretty
And
much it.
the reason I'll like double down on that with you, and the reason I think that is because I'm not saying Battle Royale is gonna die fast. We don't know how long a tail this thing is gonna have, right?
Hmm.
But now it's sort of like that time because something else is going to come along to pull people's interest.
Right.
And things like this can be so hot, and then all of a sudden it feels like within like a few weeks, it's all of a sudden everyone's done, right?
Hmm.
You're gonna wait until March, where now another player has come in. I mean,
Hmm.
it just sounds like they weren't ready.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like they were kind of caught off guard, and they just weren't able to. Yeah, I don't know. There's a few things. I don't like talking too much without actually knowing what's going on there. But that is a good theory. We'll see. It's a shame too because Battlefield 1 stole so much mind share from Call of Duty. You guys remember that? Like even though Call of Duty still outsold it, that was a year where you could tell Activision started feeling threatened.
Yep.
EA actually stole some mind share from them. Battlefield 1 was wildly successful.
And good.
I'm sorry, but I'll be honest, I don't see Battlefield 5 replicating the same success. I don't.
You want to know why, too?
Not with the fact that Red Dead is out, Call of Duty is out, and on top of that, Fallout 76 is dropping within the same, launch window. And so I just don't see it. But we'll see.
The main thing too, and I'll touch on Eric's point. I'm going to touch on Jared's point. The reason Call of Duty lost mindshare because they released that terrible. What was it even called? Infinity Warfare.
Infinite Warfare. Yeah.
Infinite Warfare. I was going to call it Infinity War because they're both terrible.
That one an Advanced Warfare.
Moving on. So. They lost a lot of mind share with that because that was a legitimately bad game. Like, it was terrible. They had to tack on COD 4 to make people buy that game. Let's be real here. Battlefield 1 had a great marketing campaign, had great beta impressions, and was a really good game off the hop. But they they completely fumbled post-launch content.
Yep.
That game.
Hardcore. That's one of my biggest concerns.
They took too long to get the first DLC pack out, and then the other DLC packs felt like they were slammed together last minute. And it didn't create that cohesion where players felt like they needed to buy the DLC pack. Which sucks because Battlefield 1 was arguably one of my favorite Battlefield games. A little easier to get the skill curve on than Battlefield 4, but
definitely.
And people complained about that because the hardcore, yada, yada, yada. But it was a good game. I definitely agree with Sam. Them having half the game coming at a later date or a mode that people were really excited about postponed. And plus all the other stuff that's gone on with this game, that terrible reveal they had where they had Trevor Noah talking about how big of a Battlefield fan he was, and he bumbled like every terminology they threw at him. That wasn't good. The gameplay, that live action trailer, they were like, this is gameplay, and then they were like, it's actually not. It just absolute fumbles. And to touch on what Eric said about PUBG, about them not knowing what they're doing, you're right. You're essentially right. Because PlayerUnknown, well, as anyone that followed his development career, he started in DayZ back on PC, and anyone who followed the development of DayZ knows how well that went. On the end of things, basically the head guy behind developing DayZ grabbed all the money they made from that game and ran. And the team was left with what they were left with. He ended up going to work on H1Z1, which started with the King of the Hill mode, which everybody loved. And that was where he kind of got like the idea going for Battle Royale. But he had creative differences with the team there, so he left there. And he ended up coming up with the idea for PUBG. And it was just an early access idea that him and a small team were working on. They pitched it. They got it on Steam. And it blew up so astronomically that I don't think they had a plan for if this game does really well. I think they were thinking they'd find a small niche. And because breaking into the PC market, because there's so many different games in the same genre, like it's like trying to be an MMO and breaking into the PC market. Try to break into the multiplayer shooter market on PC is really challenging. And they broke into it, and they broke into it hard. Like they had 1 million, they hold the record for concurrent players on Steam, and that was within the first 4 months of launch of early access. So I don't think they had a drawn out game plan of where they wanted this game to go in a year. I think that it's a learning curve for them, and they've upped their resources. Like the development team behind it's huge now. 10 cents involved. Microsoft helped get on the console, all that stuff. But I think it was a huge learning curve for them, and there's still a lot they need to learn. As someone who still plays PUBG a lot, there's a lot of things they need to learn, especially on the content side of things, to keep people wanting to play that game. And they just need to learn some more stuff. I don't mean necessarily steal what Fortnite's doing, but learn. Like they've started doing weekend modes, like event modes, which is good. Like they had some like round war modes and stuff. They've got Halloween cosmetics you can now redeem for with BP points, like the earnable currency. So you can actually buy like there's various like Halloween themed ones. Like there's an It costume you can buy. They're kind of getting a handle on what the cosmetics need to be. Like no one wants to spend real money to get a red sleeveless turtleneck sweater. Like no one ever wanted that. But it's interesting on how this is going to segue into my quick rant to wrap up this podcast. Interesting how critical everyone is of PUBG. But we, as a whole community, no one is ever. This is a very blanket statement, but no one is ever critical of Fortnite. In the simple sense of that, we've got a company. Epic Games spent from, what was it, Sam? 2012, 2013?
A little longer than that, actually, but that's the general idea.
So we'll ballpark. We'll say 2012. They started developing Fortnite. Save the World. And they were working on this game forever. And they were working on so many layers to that game. There's actually a really complicated game underneath within that mode. And I was so excited for that game. When they showed that off at E3, I was like, this looks amazing. Horde modes are awesome, especially ones with skill curves and learning and difficulty and everything else. Is like, this is amazing. This is a game for me. And when Fortnite became available pre-Battle Royale, they had 1 million players within the first month on just the Save the World mode. And they were like, this is great. Epic Games was like, we're proud of our player base. We're proud of the work we did. We want to keep pushing this game mode forward. We're all about you guys that have been supporting us, and thank you for paying $40 to play a free-to-play game that will go free-to-play spring 2018. And people were like, cool, we're glad we supported you. We're glad we helped get this game off the ground. And then PUBG started doing all these numbers, and Epic's like, we got like 6 years of development. We could cram an island together and toss a bunch of people on it. So they launched Fortnite Battle Royale, which is in early access still. No one talks about this. We're on season 6 of Fortnite. This game is played competitively at tournaments. But it's an early access game. This game has whopping amounts of microtransactions. Epic Games made so much in microtransactions from this game. They dropped the percentage that developers have to pay for Unreal Engine because they're making so much money, which is astronomical. But yet, then Epic has the audacity to come out and say in a short 2-sentence blurb on a update for Fortnite Save the World. So there's 2 different updates that happens. Every month there's a developer update for Fortnite Save the World. There's a developer update for the Battle Royale. The Fortnite Save the World update's usually 2 paragraphs. And the Fortnite Battle Royale one's like 26 pages. So this is the quote from Epic Games in regards to making the Save the World mode, what this game was supposed to be, on why it's not going free to play this year. We decided to move the free to play launch of Save the World out of this year. We're working on a broad set of features, reworks, and back-end system scaling we believe are needed to go free to play. Save the World has grown consistently since our launch in July 2017, and Fortnite overall has experienced unprecedented growth. Really. Scaling up for the legions of player heroes who will be joining the fight is key to providing an excellent experience. This applies to all of our players, old and new. So we're taking the time to get this right. Thank you to our founders, who are the people, the poor suckers that paid $40, $60, $80, upwards of $120 to fund this game. If you log in and play during the Fortnitemares event, you'll receive a skin.
Ooh.
Oh, for those who want to start playing right now, we've got you. Starting this week, 50% off on standard, deluxe, super deluxe, and limited founders packs. So I'm going to just come out and say this, and Sam's going to cringe through this. Fuck you. From the bottom of my poor black heart, do you turn around and the people that built your game paid you money to play this game early and gave you money hand over fist, and to all these people that are buying your microtransactions and not roasting you for having a game they celebrate a year of early access with Fortnite. The Battle Royale's been in early access for a year, and there is absolutely no mention in any patch notes of making this game out of early access. It's somehow gone out to PlayStation in early access. But PlayStation doesn't do early access games. So, like I don't care. Release the game. And this whole, if we make it free to play, a lot more players will come in, so we'll have to compensate on the server side of things. Like you did with the Battle Royale game in like less than a week because people were throwing money at you. Everyone's got all these issues with greedy developers and greedy publishers taking our money, but everyone's just ignoring how Epic Games is literally screwing over the fan base that made this game popular. The whole company would have been doomed if people hadn't bought Fortnite when it cost money. And
so dumb.
They sold people this game on the promise it would be free to play in spring 2018, and they waited till October.
I'm loving this rant. Loving this rant.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm so glad I don't give a shit about Fortnite because I'm so mad right now.
I'm just sitting here. I'm like, oh, this is great. So I've waited to hear this for so long.
I'm so unbelievably mad that people get mad at Ubisoft. They get mad at Rockstar. They get mad. They get mad at
all these companies.
Yeah, they get mad at every company. Like, how dare Bungie sell you guys shaders for adopting DLC early? I was mad with you guys. I was even part of that. I was mad with you guys. But nobody is talking about this. I posted this on N4G, and literally the N4G comments were like, this mode's still a thing?
And you go, oh,
I'm
man.
telling you, I guess that's the power of pushing it towards the kids, man. They don't have any knowledge of this history.
When the kids
and not only this, but you guys remember Paragon? Do you remember that game? You remember how it was such a big deal that it was PlayStation exclusive coming from Epic Games that they ended one of their big presentations with it? That game got shut down earlier this year. It still had a healthy player base, but they shut it down because they didn't have the staff to focus on that and Fortnite.
Yep.
Fortnite's the moneymaker.
I just
early access or not. It's just, hey, I want to play this game. It's free. Everybody else is playing it. All my friends are playing it. I want it.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It just, to basically summarize, it just pisses me off when a company sells you a physical game and then they basically abandon that game.
But see, it's that thing too. It's like at that point, no one cared. I mean, it had a dedicated like fan base, right?
Yeah,
but no one cared enough. It wasn't big enough, you know.
Right.
So those people who probably did yell, they just yelled into like
the abyss.
They yelled into the abyss, and nobody answered.
He's yelling at a crowd, but nobody's turning to listen.
There just wasn't enough to make the noise about it. But you probably get that noise now if all of a sudden tomorrow Fortnite wasn't free to play anymore.
Well, and see,
Well, actually, probably not because I mean, almost everybody's in now, right?
It's now
Well, actually, probably not because I mean, almost everybody's in now, right?
It's now $25 to buy a Fortnite.
Or yeah, you get people pissed off if tomorrow they say, "Hey, all you people who are playing now, you have to pay us $25 to access your account."
No, see, the thing with Epic that I always
Jared's laughing because he knows that would be that thing.
It's totally true because they would do that. They're like, hey, thanks for playing early access for so long. We're finally coming out of early access, but in order to continue playing your account, you got to pay us $25.
And the people that can access it for free are the ones who pay us the $40 to begin with.
The worst part is, people will probably be like, okay,
yep, I'm good.
That's fine. I'll pay you $25.
Like, oh, it's still cheaper than a full price game.
Oh, hey,
let
us include a battle pass for an extra $60. So now you're paying for a full price game.
And you got Bungie and Activision over. Give them some shaders. They'll be fine with it.
No, I just have to get that off my chest because it sucks when there's a game you're actually excited for, it comes out, and they promise you all this stuff, and then they're like, oh, wait, no, sorry, never mind. We made this thing that's made for like twitchy 12-year-olds on Red Bull.
They were jumping up and down as they're playing and still getting a 360 nose scope on you while you're trying to focus.
Man, I get tired of like literally my experience with Fortnite is I go shoot a kid in the back, he builds a whole hotel with Wi-Fi and snipes me.
Yeah.
that's my problem. I shoot a guy, he builds a villa,
that's
he gets a gardener, and then he shoots me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just terrible at the game. And
what's funny too is because Fortnite is free to play, I have it on like every platform and I don't care. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like maybe one day I'll care, and I put it and it's like I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't even know why I have.
I care.
Yeah, it's because you have to be part of the number. You're a number, Eric. You're a number.
Yeah.
You're the reason Sweeney has a Lamborghini because you download a free-to-play game.
The reason Sweeney has a Lamborghini. Oh
right.
My God.
No, believe me, Sweeney has had a Lamborghini for every day of the week for a much longer time than.
The only good thing that came out of Fortnite is the fact that Cliff Bleszinski can get away with not doing a damn thing in the video game world and still make bank because he was on the development team for that game and gets paid royalties out. Like, could you imagine being like not even involved in the development and someone just hands you a fat Fortnite check every week?
Yeah, you know what he is? He is Artie Lang, the comedian. Oh and the reason I say that is because Artie Lang once said he gets a residual check every year of like about $10,000 for his minute and a half of showing on Elf as Santa Claus. Think about it. I mean, he showed up as Santa Claus and Elf, and he gets like $10,000 every year because Elf is on like all the time.
That's hilarious.
He said on that, and the reason I'm making the comparison is like you talk about Cliffy B. He said, I get $10,000 just for showing up as Santa. Imagine what Will Ferrell's check looks like.
Oh my God! Yeah. See, no one ever talks about what residual. Like, you always sit there and go, "Oh, they got paid X amount of money for the film." Yeah, but that film still does numbers.
Yeah, like the kid in A Christmas Story. Like, people are like, what does he do now? Nothing. He has to do nothing because every holiday season they back a truck up to his house where he's probably getting like,
But I'll wrap the show up. Thanks for anyone that stuck around and listened to me scream like a small child about Fortnite. I just
you got no downvotes.
Yeah, that's because I'm pretty sure I'm age restricted on YouTube, so 12-year-olds can't listen to me rant about their favorite game. And by 12-year-olds, I mean Alden. I see you. But thank you for tuning into the Gaming Perspective podcast. Hopefully you guys were entertained, angered, enraged, or felt some kind of emotional
sadness because they had to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna next podcast. I'm just gonna deadpan it. I'm gonna have no emotion in my voice. I'm just gonna be like, welcome to the Gaming Perspective podcast, episode 29. Whoa.
You should do it like some like random like jazz radio show that comes on like 3 a.m. on like some.
I thought about doing a podcast at 3 a.m. Eastern time on a Monday just to see if there's anybody that follows me that would actually tune in and listen to me at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's like, hello everybody, this is Scatman Nick. You're listening to the 0 Hour.
Oh my God. All right, Sam, we need to have a jazz channel on Tick Network.
We really don't, actually.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for being the
We
clear-headed
really,
mind
really
of this
don't.
All right,
podcast.
so Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Talbert. You can find me writing stuff on tickgamesnetwork.com. And despite the fact that I'm going to be playing a metric ton of Red Dead Redemption 2 over the next week or so, I will still be writing stuff. I have a couple of pieces coming out tomorrow. In fact, unless something has changed, I'm taking over the Witching Hour again tomorrow, and it'll be my last piece of the season. So please check that out. Thank you.
Awesome. Jared?
Well, you can find me here on the Gaming Perspective. You can also find me on techgamesnetwork.com, writing up some stuff for them. You can also find me on Twitter at ragevirus_X.
And Derek?
Yeah, you can find me Wednesday nights on Brat Podcast, and also, well, not really so much on Twitter. If you want to really talk to me, you can DM me. I'm doing more talking there than I'm actually doing on timelines because it's really not worth it to talk to many people on timelines. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
And I'm Undead3XVI. If you don't know who I am, why are you on my channel? Everybody have a great night.